Hi everyone. I really didn't want to be making a New Year's vid with this tone, but sadly, I think it's really important. So, what I want to say is that coming up on this next year and this next selection that we're about to be bombarded with, um, I think it's very, very important for everybody to be as physically and mentally strong as you can possibly be. And that goes for water supply, food supply, and your physical and mental health, and the people that you're close with, their physical and mental health. Because the situation we're in is not good. And I can see a lot of things that they're putting out in the media. Like, you can just see that things are degrading at an ever increasing rate. And especially if you know how to look through their media and see what's actually being done. And I'll get to that in a second. But what I want to say is that the people that are in control, that have pretty much been controlling our society for a long time, they understand that there's a large part of the population who is no longer under their spell. And they could go two ways here at this point. This is like a fork in the road. And I mean, and it's kind of up to us in a way as well, because the fork in the road is that if it's up to them, we're just going to head into a dystopian nightmare where there is no middle class. It's just very wealthy people, and then people that are completely dominated and physically and mentally by bureaucrats and experts, just like a scientific dictatorship. That's what this is going to head into. And they're going to be this middle class, if they let themselves be pushed down any further than they are already, they're not going to have any way to really fight back or change the situation. So we're at a juncture where either we can allow these people that have pretty much caused the problem to control reality, or we can try and start to control reality on our own. And the problem is we already know which way they're going to go. So, I mean, and that's why I'm giving you this warning, to be as mentally and physically prepared as you can. And I'm not saying to be scared. I'm not even predicting any kind of definite predictions. But what I'm saying is that the people that are in control know that we're at a juncture here, and they're either going to have to clamp down harder and harder and harder and harder. And even if they do go that route, it's still going to explode at some point. So, but it's very important that, especially coming up, because I've seen so much propaganda already starting with this next selection, and I'm gonna show you that right now in a second. But so do you remember when we had the last selection, right? About 6 months, a year prior, they started with the mail-in ballots, and they acted like mail-in ballots were some big new thing that we didn't have in the past, and they made a huge psyop around the mail-in ballots. And then even that was used even after the selection to, like, remember how they tried to they drugged the counting the votes out for 2 months, like that whole nonsense thing with the counting the votes. That was all bullshit. It's just all part of their mental manipulation of the population. But do you remember that was the psyop before with the last selection was the mail-in ballots. Now this time what we're the and it's so easy to see how these people work. I mean, once you understand the game that these people are playing, it's so easy to see how they use their media. I mean, it's just so it's I don't understand how a lot of people don't see through this, because they use the same tricks over and over to get people radicalized. Like now, so it's not the mail-in ballots. Now they're not letting people on the ballots in different states. So that's going to be the next dramatic topic that they're gonna try and get the left and the right idiots to fight with all the way up until the election. So now it's gonna be, and here's the thing, it's not just Trump. Look. Right here we got RFK Jr. controlled opposition. Number 2, he's getting threatened to be not on it as well. I just saw another one. That's not what this is. I saw another one where they were trying not to let him on the ballot as well. But just understand, this is how they manipulate the emotions of mind dead cattle, is by these dumbass psychological operations that are totally irrelevant, and they will make people, idiots, fight over this stuff all the way up until the fake selection. And the other thing I want to get into, because I think it's important to clarify, is that when I say everything is scripted, I don't mean that that there's somebody writing a script for every one of these people to do their jobs every day. What I'm getting at is that when I say everything is scripted, what I'm saying is that, like, they don't even know how this, like, the people that control society, they don't even know how they're going to turn this election yet. They haven't even decided that yet, because that will depend on how these different demographics react to the propaganda and psychological operations that they're exposed to. So they will change their plan, and even they will change their plan continually, all the way, depending on how different demographics react to different propaganda, and who's more radicalized at one time and who's more radicalized at another time. That will be how they decide what they do with these selections. But the thing that doesn't change, and this is what I mean by scripted, is their end goal. They're all friends. Let me assure you, they're all good friends. Just like you saw Trump in that last video thanking the Clintons after talking all that shit on their fake campaign. These people know, as long as they go along with the show, then the plan goes ahead as planned. Do you get what I'm saying? No matter how the political charade plays out to manipulate the idiots that follow it, the main plan isn't getting deviated at all, no matter what's presented to the population. And that's what I mean by scripted. So I just wanted to make it clear, because I realized that I was saying scripted a lot. And what I mean by that is that when I say scripted, I just mean that there's somebody paying money or doing a psychological operation in order to get people to react in the way that they want them to react. And it's done different ways. With money, you can pay people to do what you want them to do, or you can trick them into doing what you want them to do. I mean, that's basically what it comes down to. And that's what I mean by scripted, is because when you have control over the emotions of the population, as much as these social engineers do, they can pretty much just steer society how they want to. And that's what I mean by scripted. It's not everything that everybody says and does is scripted, but the end goal is never deviated from. Just how they get there is. So that's what I wanted to explain about that. And I've been seeing a lot. I've seen things degrading further and further around this election. And like, I see them doing a lot of predictive programming too. I mean, that's kind of what this is too. That's what it was. That is like when they did with the mail-in ballots, and this with this stuff here not being on the ballot. It's all predictive programming. Like they're getting ready to be. It was really no. I mean, the predictive programming was definitely. I even talked about this in another vid. Is definitely what they were doing with the mail-in ballots, because they were talking about that for like 6 months before the election, and then when the election came up, the mail-in ballots were like a huge deal. It's just, and that's the same thing they're doing here with the being on the ballot. This is, like I said, just like the court trials, this is just a way to radicalize people stupid enough to get emotionally invested in this reality that they're being presented. And that's all I want to say. I want to wish you all a happy new year and safe new year. And like I said, don't be fearful. Just be well prepared and be physically and mentally strong. and be well armed. So, have a happy new year, and I'll talk to you next year.